The Vanguard burst out of hyperspace above the desolate planet Xylar, its hull reflecting the dying sun's light. Captain Alex Drayton stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the view screen displaying the war-torn surface below. Smoke rose from crumbling cities, and flashes of laser fire marked the fierce battle between the Resistance and the Hive Mind's dystopian soldiers. "Status report," Drayton commanded, his voice steady despite the chaos unfolding before them. "We're detecting multiple Resistance outposts under heavy assault," reported Lieutenant Vela, her bioluminescent markings glowing softly in the dim light of the bridge. "The Hive Mind soldiers are everywhere." Drayton nodded, his mind racing. "Prepare for descent. Commander Thalcron, gather the team. We're going in hot." As the Vanguard descended through the atmosphere, anti-aircraft fire peppered the skies. Drayton's heart pounded as the ship maneuvered through the barrage. They landed in a clearing near a hidden Resistance base, the ground trembling under the ship's weight. The ramp lowered, and Drayton led his team out, greeted by the sight of desperate Resistance fighters scrambling to hold their positions. Explosions rocked the ground, and the air was thick with the acrid smell of burning metal and ozone. "Captain Drayton, over here!" a voice called out. Drayton turned to see a grim-faced Resistance leader waving them over. "I'm Lieutenant Mara. We need your help to push back the Hive Mind's forces." Drayton nodded, his crew fanning out behind him. "What's the situation?" "The Hive Mind soldiers are relentless," Mara said, her voice tinged with desperation. "We've been fighting for days without rest. We're running out of time and resources." Drayton's gaze hardened. "We'll do what we can. Chief Engineer Grack, get those defensive turrets online. Sergeant Lyra, take your squad and secure the perimeter. Lieutenant Vela, tend to the wounded." The crew sprang into action. Drayton moved with Mara toward the front lines, where Hive Mind soldiers in dark, sleek armor advanced with inhuman precision. He raised his weapon, firing into the oncoming horde. Each shot was a testament to human resilience and determination. "Humans are so reckless," one Resistance fighter muttered, dodging a barrage of laser fire. "I don't know if we can trust them to hold the line." Before Drayton could respond, a towering Hive Mind soldier lunged at him. With a swift, practiced motion, he sidestepped and delivered a crushing blow to its head, disabling it. "We're here to help," Drayton said, turning to the skeptical fighter. "Trust us." The Resistance fighter's eyes widened in surprise and grudging respect. "Maybe there's more to you humans than I thought." The battle raged on, but with the Vanguard crew's support, the tide began to turn. Grack's turrets unleashed a hail of fire, cutting down the Hive Mind soldiers with ruthless efficiency. Lyra's squad held the perimeter, preventing any breaches. Vela's healing expertise saved countless lives. As the last of the Hive Mind soldiers fell, a tense silence settled over the battlefield. Drayton took a deep breath, his muscles aching from the exertion. He turned to Mara, who nodded in gratitude. "Thank you, Captain. We couldn't have done it without you," she said. Drayton offered a weary smile. "This is just the beginning. We need to find a way to disrupt the Hive Mind's control. But for now, let's regroup and plan our next move." The Resistance fighters began to gather their wounded and reinforce their defenses, the flicker of hope rekindled in their eyes. Drayton knew their mission was far from over, but for the first time, he felt a glimmer of confidence. They had made a difference, and with the right plan, they could liberate Xylar from the Hive Mind's grasp. Part 2. The underground base was a maze of dimly lit tunnels and makeshift shelters, filled with the weary faces of Resistance fighters and civilians. Captain Drayton and his crew were led to a central chamber where the Resistance leaders had gathered. Holographic maps flickered on the walls, displaying the Hive Mind strongholds and the scattered Resistance outposts. Drayton scanned the room, noting the tension etched on every face. "What's our next move?" he asked, breaking the heavy silence. Lieutenant Mara stepped forward, her expression grim. "We need to strike at the heart of the Hive Mind's control. We've located what we believe is their central command. deep within the city of Akris. If we can disrupt their communication network, we might sever their control over the soldiers. Commander Thalkron nodded, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the holographic glow. It's a sound strategy, but heavily fortified. We'll need precise coordination to penetrate their defenses. Grak's rocky hide bristled with excitement. Leave the technical stuff to me. I'll rig up some devices to disrupt their systems from the inside. Sergeant Lyra flexed her serpentine lower body, her eyes narrowing with determination. My squad can handle the infiltration. We've trained for missions like this. As the team discussed the plan, a skeptical voice cut through the room. Can we really trust humans with such a critical mission? The speaker was a tall, wiry resistance fighter named Jarek, his face lined with suspicion. Humans are unpredictable. What if they fail, and we lose everything? Drayton stepped forward, his gaze unwavering. We won't fail. We've faced insurmountable odds before and come out on top. We're not here to jeopardize your mission. We're here to ensure its success. Mara placed a hand on Jarek's shoulder. I've seen what they can do. We need to trust each other if we're going to win this war. Jarek grudgingly nodded, the tension easing slightly. Fine, but one mistake, and it's on you. The plan set, Drayton and his crew prepared for the mission. They donned their gear, checked their weapons, and reviewed the tactical map one last time. The journey to Akris would be perilous, but the potential reward was worth the risk. As they moved through the underground tunnels toward the city's outskirts, the air grew thick with anticipation. The resistance fighters shared hushed conversations, their eyes flicking nervously toward the crew of the Vanguard. The unspoken doubts lingered, but there was also a flicker of hope. The tunnels opened up to the surface, revealing the shattered remains of Akris. Buildings lay in ruins, and the streets were patrolled by hive-mind soldiers. Drayton signaled for his team to split into their assigned roles. Grak and his tech squad moved to plant the disruption devices, while Lyra led her squad to secure key positions. Drayton, Thalkron, and Vela advanced toward the central command building, staying low to avoid detection. The hive-mind soldiers moved with eerie precision, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. Suddenly, an alarm blared, and the ground shook with the rumble of approaching troops. "They've spotted us!" Vela shouted, her voice barely audible over the din. "Hold your positions!" Drayton commanded, firing his weapon at the oncoming soldiers. The resistance fighters joined the fray, their determination unwavering despite the overwhelming odds. Explosions rocked the area as Grak's devices activated, sending shockwaves through the hive mind's network. The soldiers faltered, their movements becoming erratic and uncoordinated. "It's working!" Thalkron shouted, his voice filled with triumph. But the victory was short-lived. More soldiers poured into the streets, their numbers seemingly endless. Drayton's heart pounded as he realized they were being overwhelmed. "Fall back to the rendezvous point," he ordered, covering his team as they retreated. As they regrouped at a safe distance, the grim reality of their situation set in. They had disrupted the hive mind, but only temporarily. The mission had been a partial success, but the road ahead was still fraught with danger. Mara approached Drayton, her face a mixture of relief and determination. "You did it. We made a dent. Now we need to plan our next move." Drayton nodded, his resolve hardening. "We'll keep fighting. We'll find a way to break their control for good." The resistance fighters and the crew of the Vanguard stood united, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The battle for Xylar was far from over, but together they had a fighting chance. Part 3. The Resistance's underground base buzzed with activity as plans for the next assault were hastily drawn. Captain Drayton, his crew, and the Resistance leaders huddled around a holographic display, analyzing the hive mind's network. The partial success of the previous mission had given them a glimpse of the enemy's vulnerabilities, but much remained to be done. "We need to go deeper," Drayton said, tracing a path on the holographic map. We've only scratched the surface. The central command in Acris is critical, but there's another layer we haven't uncovered yet. Mara nodded in agreement. Intel suggests a secondary command center beneath the city, possibly housing the hive mind's core processors. If we can take that out, we might sever their control permanently. Thalcron's multifaceted eyes glittered with interest. The deeper we go, the more dangerous it becomes. But it's our best shot at crippling the hive mind. Grak grunted, his rocky hide shifting as he adjusted his tool belt. I'll rig up some EMP charges. If we can get them close enough to the core, it should fry their systems. As preparations continued, Drayton gathered his crew for a briefing. The tension was palpable, but so was the determination. This mission is high risk, but it could end this war. Stick to your roles, watch each other's backs, and we'll get through this. Vela, her bioluminescent markings dimmed with worry, stepped forward. Captain, if we fail... Drayton met her gaze with unwavering resolve. We won't. We have to believe that. The team set out through the tunnels once more, the atmosphere heavy with anticipation. The path led them deeper into the city's bowels, where the air was thick with the smell of decay and the hum of machinery. They encountered sporadic patrols of hive mind soldiers, each skirmish a reminder of the relentless enemy they faced. As they approached the hidden entrance to the secondary command center, Lyra signaled for silence. Her serpentine body moved with fluid grace, and her sharp eyes scanned the surroundings. "It's too quiet," she whispered. "Stay alert." The entrance was concealed behind a collapsed building. With a few deft movements, Grak hacked the security panel, and the hidden door slid open, revealing a dimly lit passageway. The team moved inside, their footsteps echoing ominously. "Captain, I'm picking up strange readings," Thalcron said, studying his scanner. "The energy levels are off the charts. Whatever's down here, it's powerful." As they ventured deeper, the passage widened into a cavernous chamber filled with towering servers and pulsating cables. At the center stood the hive mind's core processor, a monolithic structure emitting a low, throbbing hum. "There it is," Drayton said, his voice barely a whisper. "Grak, set the charges." The engineer nodded, moving quickly to plant the EMP devices around the core. Suddenly, an alarm blared, and the chamber was flooded with hive mind soldiers. "We've been detected," Vela shouted, drawing her weapon. "Defensive positions," Drayton ordered. The team formed a protective circle around Grak as he worked, firing at the advancing soldiers. The air was filled with the crackle of energy weapons and the shouts of battle. Jarek, the skeptical resistance fighter from before, appeared at Drayton's side, his expression determined. "I guess it's time to see if humans can handle the pressure." Drayton grinned, even as he fired at another soldier. "Welcome to the party, Jarek." The fight was brutal, but the crew and resistance fighters held their ground. Grak finished setting the last charge and gave Drayton a thumbs up. "Charges are set. We need to move." "Fall back," Drayton shouted. The team retreated through the passage, Grak detonating the charges remotely as they ran. A deafening explosion rocked the chamber, and the lights flickered as the hive mind's core went offline. Outside, the hive mind soldiers staggered, their movements erratic and uncoordinated. "It's working," Thalcron exclaimed. "The hive mind's control is breaking down." As they reached the surface, the team was met with the sight of chaos among the hive mind forces. Resistance fighters, emboldened by the sudden change, launched a counterattack, pushing back the disoriented soldiers. Drayton surveyed the battlefield, a fierce sense of satisfaction welling up inside him. "We've done it. We've given them a fighting chance." Mara approached, her face alight with hope. "This is the turning point. With the hive mind weakened, we can reclaim Xylar." Drayton nodded, his gaze steely. "This war isn't over yet, but we just took a major step toward victory." The crew of the Vanguard and the resistance fighters stood united, ready to continue the fight. They had struck a critical blow, but the final battle was still to come. Part 4. The underground base was abuzz with renewed energy. The successful disruption of the hive mind's core processor had turned the tide, and resistance fighters prepared for the final assault. Captain Drayton and his crew gathered with Mara and the resistance leaders for one last briefing. "The hive mind is crippled, but not defeated," Mara said, pointing to a holographic map of Akris. "Our intelligence suggests their remaining forces are regrouping at the primary command center. We end this for good." Drayton nodded. "We'll need to hit them hard and fast. Thalcron, I want you coordinating our forces. Grak, prepare more EMP charges. Vela and Lyra, you're with me on the front lines." Jarek, now fully supportive of the humans, stepped forward. "I've assembled our best fighters for the assault. We're ready to follow your lead, Captain." Drayton clasped Jarek's shoulder. "Let's finish this." The resistance fighters and the vanguard crew moved out, their determination palpable. They navigated the war-torn streets of Akris, encountering sporadic resistance from disoriented hive mind soldiers. As they neared the primary command center, the true scale of the final battle became evident. The hive mind's remaining forces had entrenched themselves, prepared to defend their stronghold to the last. "Form up!" Drayton shouted, his voice carrying over the chaos. "This is it!" Explosions lit up the night as the assault began. Grak's EMP charges sent shockwaves through the hive mind's defenses, causing chaos and confusion. Lyra led her squad in a flanking maneuver, taking out key defensive positions. Vela moved swiftly among the fighters, her medical expertise saving lives and keeping the resistance in the fight. Amidst the chaos, Drayton fought with relentless determination. His rifle barked with each shot, and his commands kept the resistance fighters coordinated and focused. "Push forward! We can't let them regroup!" As they advanced, a massive hive mind soldier, larger and more heavily armored than the others, emerged from the command center. Its eyes glowed with malevolent intelligence, and it moved with deadly precision. "It's their commander!" Thalcron shouted. "Take it down!" Drayton and his team concentrated their fire on the behemoth, but its armor absorbed the hits. The soldier advanced, cutting down resistance fighters with brutal efficiency. Desperation clawed at Drayton's mind, but he refused to give in. "Grak, we need those EMP charges now," he yelled. Grak nodded, racing forward under heavy fire. He planted the charges directly on the soldier's armor and detonated them. The explosion rocked the street, and the soldier staggered, its movements becoming sluggish. "Now! Hit it with everything you've got!" Drayton commanded. The combined firepower of the resistance and the vanguard crew focused on the weakened soldier. With a final, shuddering roar, it collapsed, its systems fried. Cheers erupted among the fighters, but Drayton's focus remained on the command center. "This isn't over yet. We need to breach that building." They stormed the command center, encountering fierce resistance inside. The corridors were a maze of defenses, but the team moved with purpose. Drayton led the way, his determination driving them forward. They reached the central control room, where a cluster of hive mind operators worked frantically to restore order. Drayton and his team burst in, weapons raised. "Hands up! It's over!" One of the operators, a wiry figure with eyes glowing a sickly green, sneered. "You think you've won? The hive mind is eternal. You cannot destroy us." Drayton's eyes narrowed. "Watch us." With coordinated precision, the team took down the operators and disabled the command systems. Grak planted the final EMP charge on the central console and stepped back. "Let's end this." The charge detonated, and the room was engulfed in a blinding light. When it faded, the hive mind's systems lay in ruins, and the oppressive hum of its control faded to silence. Outside, the remaining hive mind soldiers collapsed, their connection severed. The battle was over. Mara entered the control room, her eyes wide with disbelief and hope. "We did it. We actually did it." Drayton allowed himself a rare smile. "It's a new beginning for Xylar." The resistance fighters and the vanguard crew emerged from the command center to a scene of jubilation. The city of Akris, once a symbol of oppression, was now a beacon of hope and freedom. As the celebrations continued, Drayton gathered his crew. This victory belongs to all of us. We've proven that even in the darkest times, unity and determination can overcome any foe. Jarek stepped forward, his earlier skepticism replaced with genuine respect. You humans really are something else. Thank you. Drayton nodded. We couldn't have done it without you. The crew of the Vanguard and the people of Xyla stood together, their bonds forged in the crucible of battle. They had faced the hive mind and emerged victorious, a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of humanity.